Great to have you here. We've got an action-packed, fast-paced session today to take you through setting up a customer portal and, as an added bonus, an online course in Notion. So why is it, what's important to think about when we're a coach? Obviously, we've got to deliver transformational results. That's the key thing. We've got to be coaching, right? But what a lot of us get caught up with is the technology. We either make it too complex or we have to subscribe to really expensive solutions. And what I'm hopefully going to do today is give you a different perspective, a different way of looking at that, something that is delivering just enough to deliver an amazing customer experience on top of the amazing coaching that you're already delivering. So why is it important that we concentrate on customer experience? Now, that's my background. I'm technical and customer experience. They're my two things. When it comes to coaching, obviously we're looking for transformational results, and quite often coaches will be asking their clients to take notes, which is great. And quite often they'll also provide them with the session recording. They'll probably put it on Google Drive or something like that. The key thing is that I've found over the years and over coaching dozens and dozens of clients is that they often forget how far they've come. So what a great way of delivering something to them that reminds them of how far they've come, gives them something where they can look at all of the sessions, the recorded sessions they've had. They can look at all the notes, all of the worksheets, all the downloads. They can actually look at their own journey by something you are providing to them, which is a great way of referring back to that development journey, that transformational journey. It's something they can touch, something they can feel. Okay, it's more real because they can touch and feel it. And it really goes a long way to solidifying that customer experience, which is really important because we are delivering experiences. Yes, we're delivering transformation, but we're delivering a whole experience. And we've got to be aware of that. And we've got to wrap that up into such a way that it's delivering a good experience, right? Because if we make them feel good, and that will be memorable. How people remember how you make them feel. They don't necessarily remember what you say, what you do. It's how you make them feel. So as coaches, we want our clients to feel great about that transformation. Enough talking about that. So that's where I'm coming from. We need to give them something. And there are systems out there, don't get me wrong. There's things like Kajabi, there's GoHighLevel, Podia. There's so many systems out there that allow you to create online courses in there, to have coaching products in there, to share the session videos. And they do a fantastic job. They are quite expensive. And what I'm going to show you today is how to do something similar that's good enough. Okay, and that's the key thing. It's good enough. It's solving the right problems you have now, not necessarily solving tomorrow's or next week's or next month's problems. It's solving the problems you have now and giving a good customer experience. Make sense? Should we get started? How are we doing for time? Oh, God, I've lost some minutes already. Apologies for being just a little bit late. A few technical issues with setting up the live. It seems that Facebook groups don't allow live streaming from software anymore. You actually have to do it through you can't do it through streaming software. It's silly. But anyway, hopefully we're live. Hopefully you can see me. It'd be great if some people could give me a thumbs up in the comments just so that I know you can hear me and you can see me, and then I'll crack on. So I mentioned very quickly, just a couple of seconds ago, about Google Drive. So this is what a lot of coaches will do in Google Drive. They will share a particular folder, and in that folder, they will create their clients' sessions. So this is when I was working with a coach last year. They shared a folder with me, and they had all of the different Zoom coaching sessions. And in all of those different folders, they would then put things like session notes that I could double click and read. And there would be video in there that I could view as well. So yeah, it's not the quickest thing. It will get there in a minute. Okay, so there were some session notes, and obviously I could click and look at the video as well, which is great. It's a start. It's a way of putting stuff in front of people, putting stuff in front of your clients and reminding them and showing them. And there may have been some other little readmes and stuff that have been put in there, some other links and stuff. The downside is it's a little bit clunky. Okay, I can't easily navigate that. It's not obvious what I'm looking at. It's easy to mess up with Google Drive. You can move stuff around, accidentally delete stuff, and all of a sudden the client has no longer got what it is that you want them to have. So we're going to look at something just a little bit different. As I said, we're going to be doing this in Notion. And this is a completely brand new Notion subscription. It's not the one I use. I've set one up ready to go live with this today and to take you in how to set this up from scratch. Okay, so it's brand new. It's not even on the right plan. Okay, it's on the free plan, which again, you can do with Notion. You can have a free plan. The only reason that I suggest people upgrade to the Plus plan, which is I think £8.50 a month, is so that it removes the limit of file upload size. So in the free account, there are certain limits, but the one that's really limiting is the fact that the maximum file size that you can upload is 5 megabytes. Okay, so if you're wanting to share recordings of client sessions, clearly they're going to be probably a few hundred megabytes, so you're not going to be able to do that. So if the first step really for you guys is to upgrade the plan. Now, if you're wanting to upgrade the plan, if you didn't do it on the off, then it's really easy to find where that is. You just go into settings and members, and you go down to upgrade plan, and you upgrade to this plan here. Okay, which is it says £7 a month, but it's not. If you do go with monthly, it's £8.50. And if you upgrade, what that will do is it will open up a lot of limits. But as I say, the key limit really is this file uploads, which is now unlimited. Okay, so that's the first thing to do. Make sure you're on the right plan. The second thing that's a nice to have that's really worth doing is if you stay in settings and you go into settings, on this workspace settings screen, you will see something that says domain. Now, it's just I don't know, it's an aesthetic thing, but eventually you're going to be sharing this portal or the portals that you create with multiple different clients. And the address, the URL that they go to in their web browser, as default at the moment, it will look like that. You'll just get a standard assigned one. Whereas you might want to change that a bit. So let's say that I want them to go to coachingtech.notionsite.whatever. So you can actually put in here, and you don't need to own the domain name. This is just something that's built in. It will tell you whether it's already been used. So what it means now is when I share this site in a minute or later on with various clients, they will now go to coaching-tech.notionsite. Okay, or that could be your own name, or it could be Clarity Coaching, or whatever you want it to be. So they're the first couple of things that you might want to change. I'm just going to come out of that. Okay, so where do we get started? We need to get started with really what it is that we want to try and achieve. So I just want to spend a couple of minutes. I've spent a number of years in software design, okay, and it's all about making sure you are solving the right problems. So with a customer portal, if we're going after MVP, minimum viable product, what are the things we need to solve right now? Okay, we want some form of customer facing hub for our customers. We want to remind them how they can book their sessions, ideally with a link to our Calendly schedule or Acuity schedule or whatever it is that you've got. We want a way where we can store their completed sessions so that they can go and review them, and that's reviewing the notes, any handouts, the video. We ideally want to also have an area where we can put extra learning material in there. So if we've got some free courses or maybe some paid courses, we want an area where we can just very quickly copy these courses in and all of a sudden they'll have access to them. Obviously, if they're paid, you need to sort out the payment method. That's not done through this. This is an area where you can act as a hub and you can give them access to this. And you want to know, and you want to put in front of them how they can get help. Okay, so they're really the 4 key things you want in a very simplistic customer portal. And again, without getting too fancy and just making it as simple as it needs to be. So if we had something like this that had a bit of a graphic, this is a dashboard, it gives them a bit of a welcome message. We've got an area where they can click to book their sessions, completed sessions. This will build up over time. As they have more and more sessions, you'll add more and more to this list. Your courses, again, it's as if you're talking to the client, don't forget. So it's their courses, but when they're seeing it, it's your courses. You would put any courses that they've got in here. Again, we're going to go through all of this, and they need help. And then if they click on one of their sessions, they will then get a slightly different screen that's the detail behind that session. So there'll be a video that they can run full screen if they want, as you tend to expect within online learning and stuff like that. Any resources that are associated with that session, any agreed actions, because don't forget, we want our clients to be taking action, and a bit of a session overview. So how did they check in? How did they check out? What were the key points? So you're giving them everything they need for that particular session, as much detail as is needed. And if we go back to the main dashboard screen, that's built up over time with all the multiple sessions that they've got. And as I've said, if you're giving them courses as well, then you put the courses in here. We're going to go through all of this. Just to give you a heads up of what the course stuff would look like, you're going to see it's very similar again, very simple. Okay, and again, these are just what's called wireframes. When you're creating software designs, you just have very simplistic designs. We're going to make them look a little bit better than this. So again, in an online course, you tend to expect to be some sort of introduction video. You tend to expect to be able to see a list of all of the lessons, because you might want to go through them out of order. You might want to do a bit of upsell at the end of the course, perhaps offer them access to your ebook, or to join a strategy call or something like that. So you always need to be thinking about what's next with a client. And again, once they click on one of their lessons, again, very simple. We just need to give them a video. We need to give them an overview, some notes on what that lesson is. And in some cases, we want to give them some downloads, some worksheets. So the two, although they're for a different purpose, the designs for both are very similar and very simple. And this is the thing. The more clever and complex we try and make systems in software, the less adoptability they have. So people start to get confused and they can't see it, and they need training on it. When you put something in front of someone like this who's never been trained on it, it should be good enough that they can work their way through it without any training. So keeping it simple is key. So that's what we're going to set up today in hopefully about 45 minutes. We're going to set up a dashboard. We're going to set up a session screen, and then we're going to set up an online course. Now, I'm not going to be uploading really lengthy videos during this, because if I was to upload a 3-hour training video, it's probably going to take 20 minutes to do that. So I've got some little bite-sized videos that I'm going to be putting up there just to show you the technique. So hopefully that makes sense. So we're going to start with creating this in Notion. So over to Notion. As I said, completely clean system. You end up with what's called a workspace. You have a private workspace. So I'm going to add a new container, and I'm just going to call it coaching. Now, just to step back just a couple of seconds, if you can use Google Docs and you can use Microsoft Word or other products that are like word processors where you create documents, if you can use those, then you can use Notion, because that's basically what it is. It's a way of creating pages with text and graphics and changing the fonts and colors, putting images in, putting other pieces, artifacts on the screen, and then linking pages together. Okay, so if you can do that stuff, you're fine. You do not need to be a tech whiz to use Notion. I'm creating this container called coaching, and this is just so I can keep it separate than all of this standard stuff that's in there. Now in coaching, I am then going to create another page inside it. Okay, and this one is going to be my portal. So I'm just going to call it, what will I call it? Yeah, I'll just call it customer portal. And I'm going to call it template at the start. And you'll see why shortly. Sorry for my slow typing. I've got microphones in the way as well, which doesn't help. Hey ho. One other thing, there might be some comments that come in. I will try my best to look at the comments. The likelihood is I might not be able to answer many until towards the end. I will pick up any comments afterwards though, and answer them once this live is finished if I don't get round to them. One other thing I always like to do with all of my pages in here is make them full width. Okay, it just means it's going to take the full width of the screen that's available. So again, in my template called customer portal, I'm going to go to the 3 dots up at the top and I'm going to say full width. And then really, it's just about trying to make this screen now look the same as this screen here. Okay, so let's make a start, and it's really quick and simple. The first thing I might want to do is perhaps have some sort of header image up at the top. So if I point up to the top, I'm going to click to add a cover. And what it does is it just goes out and puts a random picture in there. That's not a very good one. So what you can do is you can click change cover. You can go in, you can pick different styles. You can pick from some standard images that are there. You can even go to Unsplash, which is quite good, and then search for a particular topic. No, it's not found anything on meditation. Let's go with coach. Okay, it's gone for sports, but that will do. Okay, so I'm just picking an image based on the topic. Or if you want to get really, really whizzy, you can actually upload something that you've already designed. So I'm going to do that. So I've already just designed a very basic thing in Canva. It's taking a while. There we go. And that's not it. Let's try that again. So it's the portal, and I've just got a basic header. So I'm not going to tell you how to create these things in Canva. It's down to you to work out yourself, but you can put some sort of banner just to make it look professional, perhaps put your branding on there, your logo, your name, something like that, just to personalize it. You can also add icons as well, which is just a nice way of having something here, and it also means that an icon appears next to the page there as well. So I always like to try and use icons. You can pick them from emojis. Again, you can upload your own logos and stuff like that. I'm just going to pick this sun one for now, just because it's quick and simple. Okay, so I'm already now starting to make this look a little bit more sensible. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this dashboard. And then I'm going to insert another line. So again, just imagine that it's Microsoft Word or Google Docs. See how I'm just adding extra text in? Now, with Notion, you can use what's called / commands. So if I click / on the keyboard, it gives me a whole set of options. It basically says, what is it you want to add? Now, I'm not going to go through them all, but you are going to see me pressing that / quite a bit. You'll have to slow down the video and pause it afterwards if you want to see exactly what I'm typing. So I'm going to add a call out first of all. And basically this is where you would do a quick intro. So for your customer portal, you'd be putting something there like welcome, whatever their name is. Here you'll find all of your sessions. If you get stuck, give me a shout or whatever. Okay, so it's some form of message just so that they know what it is they're looking at. Okay, so welcome message or description about what they're looking at. Then I'm going to create a series of different blocks, different containers to put stuff in. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to look at is how to book your sessions. So I'm just going to go back, and apologies for flipping between the screens. As you can see, it's live, so I'm having to try and remember certain things. And it's going a bit slow as well, which is not brilliant. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put another line in. I'm going to put the text in that I want. So I want this to say, book your sessions. Okay, I'm going to go back and format that in a minute. What are some of the other lines I want? I also want in there your completed sessions. I want a section for your online courses. And a need help. Okay, so I'm not too worried about text underneath them at the moment. I'll move around in a minute. So book your sessions. I want that to be bolder and I want it to have a background. So I can go in, and it's a bit like a word processor. So when you actually select text, you can pick from different styles. Okay, so I want this to be a heading 2. Right, and then I also want to put a background color on it, but there's a really quick way of doing that. So if I just start / and type a color, if I spell it correctly. That didn't work. What's it doing? I think it's going really slow over the stream. Come on. Wow, well, that took a while. I'm not going to do those commands because they're going to take way too long over this stream. It seems to be going really slow. So bear with me. It's actually stopped responding to the keyboard. Oh, tech gods are not on my side today. Let's try again. Let's give it one more try. Come on, that's better. And then I'm going to pick grey. To make it quicker, I'm just going to get rid of those. And I'm just going to duplicate this out. I've got one block now. I know it's not covering just one section of the screen. I'm going to sort that in a minute. I'm just going to duplicate this out because the speed of the connection is pretty slow. So I'm going to duplicate this to create a few copies of it. I'll change the text in a minute. My God, it is going really slow. It will not go as slow as this if you're not trying to stream as well as having multiple screens open. So don't you worry. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I want it as a 2-column. So I'm going to pick one of these up and I'm going to drag it over here. And you'll notice that the little icon changes and puts a blue line. So that tells you that it's going to create a second column. Okay, so now I've got those. I've got book your session. This one here is going to be your completed sessions. What did I say this was going to be? That's your courses. My God, it's not even keeping up with me typing. Sorry about this, folks. What is it doing now? Oh. Let's try again. I don't know why it's doing something with that AI now. So this was meant to be about showing you just how easy it is. And yeah, I'm really struggling, but it doesn't help that the keyboard is going about 3 seconds after I've typed. So apologies about this. So let's try it again. I'll slow down with my typing. We'll make that need help. Come on. Yeah, it's like the ultimate test of my brain capacity here. I'm having to do something and then guess what's going to happen in about 2 seconds. Right, okay, so there we go. That's where I was trying to get, and that should literally only take you about 20 seconds to create those containers. Now what we're going to do is put some text underneath this book your session. So something like to book your sessions, click here. Okay, now it doesn't matter it's in the wrong place because I can just drag it up and I can put it where I want it to be. When it comes to this here text, I can click it, I can click a link, and then you'd want to put your link in there to actually link it to whatever your scheduling is. So whether that's Calendly or whether you've got something set up specifically on your own website, like I have. Okay, so that's now created that as a hyperlink. So just to test that, we'll do that in a minute. If I was to click that now, or they were to click that, it's going to take them in a new browser tab to your scheduling. Courses, we're going to suggest for now that they haven't got any courses. This particular client hasn't purchased any courses, or maybe it's a template that we're setting up from scratch. So let's say that they've got no courses, and literally I'm just dragging it in place. They need help. I'm just going to put something in place there that says, you need help. The cursor stopped responding again. Come on. Again, if I select the email address and put it as a link, it should be clever enough to realize email addresses are mail to links. And that's now that piece done. So I'm just going to drag that and put that in this container over here. And then we're going to have sessions as well. So what I'm going to do is, to make it easier for me to edit, okay, I'm actually going to take this page and duplicate it because I want the same header. I'm going to have a similar layout. So again, if you think about what I'd set up, if you look what I'd set up over here, so the dashboard looked similar to the actual sessions. Okay, so I can reuse a lot of those things that are on screen already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this template dashboard, I'm going to point to it when the cursor wakes up. There we go, 3 dots. And I'm going to duplicate it. That'll create another copy of it, and it will just put a 1 after it so it's got a different name. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, and I'm now pretending that this is a session, okay, a coaching session. So it's already pulled everything through, which is great. It is a copy of that other thing. I might want to use a different icon for my sessions. So I'm just going to quickly, I'm going to go as quick as the streaming will let me go. It's going to not be called dashboard. This is going to be a session. So it's probably going to, I probably want to store them using a certain naming convention so that the client can work out when it was. Let's call this one session 1, and then you'd probably put the client name in there. Okay, so that's actually what that page would be called. Right. In the sessions, the session screens, I don't want this little area here, because this was relevant to the dashboard only. So I'm going to click it, and I'm going to say I want to delete that. It's then going to change the screen slightly as well, because within the actual sessions themselves, they are going to have a slightly different layout. Come on, that should have gone by now. It should have a slightly different layout. So I'm going to have the screen recording, sorry, the session recording is going to be here. Okay, I'm going to reuse this section, and this is probably where I'm going to put the little handout resources. Okay, so if you did a transcription of the thing, or you got a worksheet or something that you were giving to them, that's where you would probably put that. Don't need this text here because I'm actually going to drag and drop a video in there. I'm probably going to want a session overview. I know it's a bit of config at the moment, guys, but trust me, when you start duplicating stuff in a minute, you'll see how just quick it is. And then I'm probably also going to have agreed actions as a section. And the mouse hasn't caught up yet. Come on. You can do it. There we go. I don't need that text there, because rather than a link and email address, this is going to have a series of actions. So just as a template, just so that we know how we should be populating this. It's interesting it put it twice. And then we probably want a little note about the accountability. How are we going to hold them to account? And maybe just a little sentence under there, spelt correctly. And then the last thing is, what I'm going to do is just reformat this again in a minute, just so that this session overview is not in line with this, because there's going to be a video here. So I'm just going to drag this session overview down so it's, what is that doing? I'm going to drag this session overview down so that it's below everything else and it's a solid, a full column. Okay, and then I'm just going to rejig a little bit of this just so that it's exactly where I want it. Okay, so then there's a video that's going to be in here. So let's say that I've got a session video. So what do we do with that? So you literally just drag your session videos onto the screen. So let's say I've got a video elsewhere, it's recorded. I'm just going to find one. Let's have a quick look. There's a small one. I'm literally going to drag it onto the screen. I'm going to put it there. As I say, it's about a 5 meg one, this, so it should upload pretty quickly. And whilst that's happening, I can still carry on doing things. So under here, I would probably have check-in and whatever their score is. Checkout score and key points. And then you'd probably write under there. Okay, so hopefully that's making sense. Apologies for the screen going really slow. So that is pretty much now a template. Now, I've just put that video in there to show you where you would put the video and what it looks like when it's in there. Obviously, if I click that, it's going to play that video. I don't want that there in the template because you're going to put the session template, sorry, the session video in each template, right? So I'm just going to delete that one back out again. When it, come on. It's not actually responding to me at all now, which is great. There we go. There we go. So I've set up my dashboard, which is the other screen. I've set up that session template, which is the one I've just been working on. What I now want to do is make the session template appear within the dashboard. Okay, so in order to do that, it is as simple, I'd say as simple, but with it going slow, hopefully it's still going to work. You literally, on this left-hand side, you drag the page into the other page which you want it to contain. Now you can see that page is sitting underneath in that hierarchy. And what it's automatically done is it's put it over here for us. So now you would populate that particular session with the specific detail around that particular session that's going to appear in that client's portal. If you want to duplicate ready for next week or the week after, you just create your multiple sessions. Now you've set the template up, you're literally just duplicating them out. And then when you want to go into one of those to populate it or to change it, you just click it. It will be quicker than this for you when you're doing it locally. And then you update it. You would put your date in, whatever date it was, drag the session recording in, drag any little handouts or transcripts or anything that you've done. Or so let's just drag this resource in. I'll just stick that there. Come on. It's not finished loading yet, so that's not playing ball. There we go. So you drag any resources in that you wanted contained within that session as well. You'd have your video in there, which is great. So you'd stick your video in too. And that's the session. That's what the customer would see. So when you in a minute share the template dashboard, anything that you have set up in this portal, they will see. So clearly you don't want templates in there. I've just put those in there to show you how you would populate them. What you would probably want is to put some little templates in a different folder that wasn't sitting under the template dashboard. So can you see now how I've dragged that, and that's now sitting in the coaching folder and not the template dashboard folder. So that now means I've still got a template there that at any point I can duplicate and I can drag into their dashboard. But once I share their dashboard, they're only going to see the ones that I've put in there at that particular point in time. Okay, so we've got something. I'm not going to populate all of it. We've pretty much now got that layout. So we've got the dashboard. We've got what a session looks like. We've actually got a session here. And obviously we would populate that session. The final thing then really is how do you go about sharing that with a client? Now, the first thing to remember is that you share a particular structure with a client. So you can't share this and give this link to multiple clients because that won't be their stuff, right? So let's say that you have got this template that you've set up and you've not customized it, you've just left it as standard stuff. You would probably want to duplicate this whole template, and I'm just going to do that. So now you can see that I've got this template here, and let's just say that this dashboard was John's dashboard. Oh my God, I can't spell. Let's try that again. What that now means is I have got a complete duplicate of that, and I can keep John's dashboard completely separate than this template. And if I've got 10 clients, I could create 10 copies of this, and I would copy in the template when they've had a session and then update that template specific for them. So within John's dashboard now, if I then wanted to share this whole dashboard with John, it's really simple. I click on the dashboard, so the top level that I want to share, and then I go over to share. And what I want to do is publish it. I'm going to publish it to the web. Based on that, at the very start, I said about changing the domain name for your own settings. I cancelled out, but this would say something like coachingportal.notion site or carlscoaching.notion site, whatever. I'm just going to turn off all the settings so they can't do anything with it other than just look at it as read-only. And then I would make a copy of that link, and then I would send them that link. And when you send that link to them, this is what they would get. That's not the quickest thing to load. Okay, so they've now got, so John's got access now to his dashboard. He can't get access to anything else you set up, can't get access to the templates. He hasn't got any options here. He can't literally do anything other than use what you've got here, which is your schedule link that you set up, a way to email you. You've not given him any courses yet, and you've got a list of his sessions, and he's pretending he's just only had one session so far. So he can go into his session, and then he can look at his session, or he can go back to his dashboard. And you can get clever. You can start putting links in different screens to take you back, what's called breadcrumb links. But in essence, that's a very simple dashboard set up, ready to go. So all you then need to do once you've had another session with John is duplicate the session template, copy it in, and update it, which I'm just going to show you now. It's not even loading the screen. Come on. There we go. So let's just say that John has had another session. You're going to duplicate your session template screen. And you literally drag it into John's dashboard. Once it's in there, it appears, then you can click it and just update it. Give it the right date, give it the right name, update the session notes. Okay. So once you've done the work of setting up the structure of your portal and the structure of your session screen, you keep them as templates that you can just keep duplicating and popping into other people's portals. You just literally duplicate it and drag it into someone else's portal. So it's really simple. Now, I haven't gone for the finesse. However, you might want to do a few little things just to make this a little bit more pretty. So I've used grey as a colour there. You can pick different colors. Again, like with Word, you can select text. It's not doing it very quickly on here. And rather than it being white, you can pick different colors of text. You can pick different color backgrounds. So I might want that background to be orange instead. Okay. In a particular bit, or I might want that whole row to be orange. I might want to do things like use emojis in here just to make it look a little bit more pretty and a bit more usable. And again, you don't need to stick to this structure. You can put whatever little containers and anything else that you want on there. You could put images into there. You can do whatever you want, but try and keep it simple. Remember, there are certain problems that you are trying to solve. Don't overkill it. Just solve the problems that you need to solve, which is that tangible touch and feel of the session recording, how to get help, how to book the next session, and the notes that were in there. And again, I do apologize for the speed that this is going. So again, I'm not overkilling it. I am literally just solving these problems. Now, oh God, how are we doing for time? A little bit over. Apologies, I wasn't expecting such delays in swapping between screens. Online course. Online course is just as easy. And rather than starting from scratch, I'm going to take the portal and edit the portal so that it is an online course. Okay, so let's look at this template dashboard that I've got here. I'm going to take that template dashboard and I'm going to duplicate it. Again, I'm not duplicating John's because that's already shared out there now. I don't really want to do too much with that. By the way, anything that you put into John's dashboard that's shared now will just instantly appear on his side. So if he clicks refresh on the page, anything you've put in will appear. So if you create more sessions, you don't need to republish it or do anything like that. You just keep putting more and more stuff in there and it will just appear instantly for him. So I'm going to now take this template dashboard and I'm going to now turn this into an online course. Now, with the online course, it's a slightly different structure. Come on. So similar, it's still got a header, it's still got an icon, it's got a name, it's got a video, okay, it's got lessons as a list, and then you click the lesson and it goes into a screen that looks similar to the session screen. So there's not much editing that we need to do, but we might want to use different graphics, slightly different naming and stuff just to make it look a little bit different. So I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to call this online course. Home. In my online course, I'm not bothered about having this little welcome message because, again, that's more of the sort of thing that you'd put onto a portal. It's not going to say book your session here. So this is the home page for the course, which will have the list of all the lessons. So this is probably going to be an introduction video that sits here. Don't need any text there because I'm going to copy a video in there. Don't need that block at all. Will disappear in a minute. This will say lessons up here. And I know it looks a little bit odd, but we are going to change this in a minute. This session, which is a coaching session, will actually be edited and turned into a lesson in a minute. Okay, so we can change that. Again, we don't need that there. The need help is going to be under here. Okay, so with my course, I'm going to change a few things. Bear with me 2 seconds. It's going incredibly slowly. Okay, so I'm just putting a little intro video up there that they can view, which will just welcome them to the course, tell them where to click, how to navigate it, such things like that. The lessons are going to appear here. Again, you could use emojis, different colors and different text. Because of the speed, I'm not going to change that right now, but you can see how to do that. You just literally select the text, pick different things. What I am going to now do is look at the lesson video. So I'm going to change the layout of the lesson videos. So I'm going to click on that. I am going to change this header in a minute as well. So we'll call that lesson 1. It would probably have a different icon. I don't really know what, it doesn't really matter. Come on, keyboard, catch up. What I would probably do in here is I would say lesson outline. Come on. Oh, why is it taking so long? Come on. So then you'd have this particular lesson outline. You'd probably have a paragraph or two which was outlining what is in this particular lesson, sat next to the video. God, just look how slow that's going. Can you hear? I've stopped typing on my keyboard yet now, but it's still showing it on screen, which is crazy. Come on, stop, play nice. Honestly, guys, you will not have any of these lag problems when you're doing it locally on your own machine. This is because I'm running multiple things at the same time. That's going to be the lesson outline. I don't want any of this section here, so I'm just going to delete that out. This here would be take action. So you'd have something like download the worksheet, and then you would probably have a PDF that was sitting there as well. So you'd create all of your different lessons separately, and obviously you'd be putting your recording in there as well, because the assumption is that you've pre-recorded this stuff. So again, I'm just going to mock this one up just very quickly, say quickly, as fast as it will let me. Stick a video in there. Just while I'm waiting for that, I'm just going to change this header because I don't want that header. It's not the customer portal now. Come on, you can do it. Just waiting for it to catch up. I think I've spent just as long waiting for the keyboard and waiting for the screen to catch up as I have actually typing stuff. Come on, you can do it. Okay, so I'm going to change the cover. So this would be a cover that's more in line, obviously, with your actual course. So again, you'd probably have this created in Canva. Come on. Need the countdown music. Yeah, and we're trying to work out the anagram. Come on. Just draw some shapes on the screen while we're waiting for it. Any second now, that banner should change. And again, I know I keep saying it, guys, but it will not be this slow for you when you're doing it locally. it would be pretty much instant. So banners need to be of a certain size, ideally a 4:1 ratio, so 4 times as wide as they are high. So I tend to do the banners 2000 wide by 500 high. And if it hasn't, even if you don't and you forget that, once you bring it in, you can actually click reposition and you can drag it down a little bit. So I can now drag this, so that looks a little bit better. Okay, so that's that bit done. There's a worksheet in there, there's a video in there. The only other things, I'm not going to do it right now because of the speed, but I could put some text in there now that says go back to home or next lesson, previous lesson, and then I could connect those links up so that they would work. So what this now means is in this online course home, if I look again now, and I know I've not built absolutely everything out on it, but you can see, you get the general gist of it hopefully now. When I go back to it and it does load, what you can see now is it's created this lesson 1 sitting over here. We don't need that little bit of text there. That can come off the home. Oh, it had it. It just remembered it because it's going so slow. So within the online course, we've now got 1 lesson. Clearly, you'd be duplicating this out and you would be authoring the separate pages. So you'd have probably multiple lessons in here. So I'm just going to duplicate that. I'm going to duplicate it again. You drag them into the right order that you wanted them in. You'd go into each one of these, change the content within it. You'd probably want a what's next section as well. And then you would build all of that out. And then you've got your online course template. And it's ideally filled in with your particular information. Again, you'd be changing the header up here so that it matched the lessons, so it was cohesive as you're going through. But in essence, that's the structure. You would put as many lessons as you want. You can access it from here. And then I guess what you need to think about then is who you're going to give that to. Because in essence, you're going to create your online course in here. And then you decide who you're going to give it to, whether you're going to give it to people for free or whether they've paid for it. So let's just say I want to now give this course to John. Okay, so if you remember, John didn't have any online courses available in his portal. But what I can do now is I can, once this course has been completed, and I know that we've only still half done it, but if we take that template course now and was to duplicate that again, this course now can be dropped into John's dashboard. Then when I look at John's dashboard now, and the screen will change any second now. It's put it in the wrong place on this screen, but that's fine because actually we just want it to appear under there. And we can delete that NA now because he does actually have a course. Okay, so we can get rid of that. So now John has got a portal. He's got a portal with a couple of sessions. We've got a template sessions sitting in our coaching folder that we can duplicate up and put into John's dashboard. We've got I know it's only a template course at the moment, but you could see how to continue modifying that and build that out. Once we've taken that course, we've then put it into here so we can access that course as well. And it's got all of its sub pages in there. So when John now does his refresh of his page, again, we've not had to do anything other than put it into the different containers, into the different folders. Any second now when that refreshes. There we go. So John has now got his extra session that we've put in there. He can go into his course, and I know it's going to look a bit funky at the moment because we didn't change the header on the course home. But then we can see his online course with the intro video. We can see lesson 1 that's been set up. Again, we could put some extra links in here to take him back to home, or for now, he could just use the back button. So there's extra finesse that we can do. As I say, we can change colors. We can put a lot more graphics in there. There's quite a bit that we could do to make that look significantly better. Okay, so for example, there's different things that we can put on screen, put graphics, but hopefully that gives you the understanding of how to build something out and how to within a container, create separate pages in it, then use those as a template to duplicate up and populate with the information, and then how to share that as a portal so that a client has then got access. So that link that you shared for John is for John only. If you then wanted to give a portal to Jane, you would duplicate your template portal, give that link to Jane, and then if you wanted her to have that online course as well, then you would also duplicate that online course and put that into her portal. So you'd build up all these artifacts of things that you wanted first of all, and you'd put them into somebody else's dashboard. If at any point you want to stop a dashboard being shared, if you go to the dashboard and if you click share, you can unpublish it. So let's say it was a client that, for heaven forbid, you fell out with and something wasn't going well, or they hadn't paid you a particular payment, then you could go back into the share button and turn that off. You could literally unpublish it, and then at instant, if John was to refresh his page after you've unpublished it, he would then no longer have access to it. Okay, so if I'm not going to swap to it, but that's now unpublished, if I refresh on John's now, he's not going to see anything. So we've built a customer portal, we've added a little bit of graphics, we've created different sections, we've created the concept of another layout, which is the session layout. You can then use that session layout and put that inside of the portal, and you can duplicate those out as you create new sessions and populate them. We created an online course as a separate entity and started to build out some of those lessons. Once you've got that completed, that's then its own little self-contained thing that you can again duplicate, and then you can put those things into somebody else's portal. And then the last thing we looked at was how you could actually take the portal at the root level, at the high level, the top level here, duplicate it, rename it, and then you can actually go and share and publish it and then give your client that link. So quite a few things that we went through there. And apologies again for the speed of that. That was meant to be a lot quicker. That should have been a lot quicker. Now, there is something that you might want to look at that might be quite useful for you. I've got something that I've set up what's called a done-for-you template. So I have set this structure up entirely from start to finish, and also added a little bit of extra graphics in there. I've built out the online course, so it is actually one of my online courses, added the backlinks in, all that sort of stuff, and I've got that as a downloadable template that you can import into your Notion, and it's really quick and simple to import into your Notion. So within this done for you template, if I just show you this very quickly, you go to a particular page and it's got a template dashboard, which you've just seen being built. It's got a template course. It's got an actual dashboard populated. It's got an actual course populated. It's literally got everything you need. And in order to put that into your Notion, provided you're using Notion Plus, there's just a button up at the top, and you click the button and you say that you want to move that over to your system, and it creates that entire structure and it sits within your system then. So there's a really quick way to get all of that pre-done for you if you want. There is a small price tag that comes with it, but I'll put that up on the end screen once we finish the stream, just so that you can see that. So that's something that you might want to look at. As I say, that template is all fully built out for you. It's all pre-built. So everything I've run through there, but like times 10. So go and have a look at that and see whether that's something that you'd be interested in. It just saves you having to go through the hassle of creating all of that. And again, now that you've seen how to create some stuff and you understand how the structure works within Notion, this is scratching the surface. This is trying to solve a specific problem for a customer portal, but there is so much else you can do in here as well. There's so many other things. You can put databases in here, tables, spreadsheets, task lists, planners, calendars. You can do so much inside Notion that I'm not going to take you through today, but it is a really good tool to have in your business. And especially given that if you set your portal up and make it look pretty enough, and you can manage that with multiple clients, that's going to save you having to purchase things like Kajabi at about $199 a month. It's going to save you having to have Podia at 90 odd a month. It's going to save you having to have things like GoHighLevel to have the same stuff for $99 a month. So don't get me wrong, some of these tools do other things as well, but do you need those problem solving right now? Or is this enough of a problem solved for you right now? Because if it is, then I'd much rather spend £8.50 a month and put a bit of work into doing this, or to use my template that's done for you that you can then just use and populate straight away. So hopefully that's been useful. And again, apologies for all of the time delays and the lags. I don't know what's going on with the internet connection or Notion at the moment. I hope that's been helpful. I will pick up the comments afterwards and answer anything that anybody's raised. Hope that's been useful, and I shall see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.